Hello everybody out there in Flosstube world. This is Vicki, aka the Virginia Stitcher, coming to you with my next video. I know the last time I had checked in with you guys was about 4 weeks ago, so here I am again. Hi. Hey everybody. Loved all your comments. I love that you support the fact that I need to do what I need to do for my video, my channel, and for my stitching life. So I appreciate that so much. I appreciate it. Now, if you notice, I'm facing in a different direction because I've got a different setup today. I actually went, after my last video and all the lighting issues I was having, I went onto Amazon and just bought a cheap ring light, and it is holding my, my phone. So I'm videoing from my phone, and I'm going to try and see how this does. I hope my battery lasts and that the quality is good and all of that. So I'll have to see how this one turns out to see if this is how I want to continue to film my videos in the future. So I am facing the windows of my craft room. I am at my crafting desk, but I'm on the back side of it so that I have the window in front of me instead of behind me. And so you're going to see all this junk behind me. This was a paint by number that I painted, I don't know, 2, 3, 4 years ago, maybe 3 or 4 years ago. And then these are just a bunch of scrapbooking albums that I have done through the years, baby photo albums of my girls, my grandchildren, old photos, family photos of, I know I did an album for my dad's family. He had photos dating back to like 1900. And so I scrapbooked all of those. So those are scrapbooking. And then I have some of my finished pieces just sitting on the floor down here because I still haven't figured out what I want to do with my wall space yet. And my TV that I use when I'm here in my craft room, I stream usually YouTube videos. Sometimes I watch movies, whatever, while I'm sitting in my craft chair that is over in this other corner over here in front of me. And I have a treadmill over to the side that I got to look at, and makes me feel guilty sometimes. I just ignore it, that I'm not on it all the time. I do try to get on it for health reasons, try to, do a little bit of exercise, a few times a week. And so this side of the craft room is exercise equipment. If you've watched my craft room tour, that's what's over there. That hasn't moved. I'm not moving that beast of a treadmill. It stays in its spot. I might switch around this side of the room where my dresser full of crafting, cross-stitch fabric and DMCs and things like that. And then I have my stitching area back over in this corner. And then I have a clock so you can tell, you can see what time it is. So welcome. Hello, everybody. Thank you so much. This is video number 29, and it is August 24th of 2022. So I have a lot to show you guys because it's been about 4 weeks since my last check-in. So I do have, I always try to heart on every comment that I get. And if there's a question, I try to answer it the best that I can. And there have been a couple of questions that I thought, I would do at the end of this video. I try to do some help stitchers out there because I know when I started stitching, 40 years ago, I taught myself. And there was not YouTube, there was not Flosstube, how-to videos, anything like that. So I kind of taught myself through the years and then learned trial and error, and then also by people that I knew along the way, met along the way that stitched, that gave me some pointers. And then also from watching Flosstube in the last, 3 years, I've learned a couple of new things that I didn't know forever ago, for a long time ago. So I like to, if I'm given a question, how do you do this? How do you do that? I try to answer the best I can. It is my way I do it. I'm not saying it's the right way. It's the way that works for me. It's the way that I've done it. So somebody asked, and I'm gonna show at the end of this video how to measure and start a piece. Because there is a piece that I want to start. So I have that set aside to show you guys how I actually measure out to make sure my fabric's the right size, measure for my margins and things like that before I start a piece. And 99% of the time I'm right, and every so often my measurements are off and my margins are small, but usually I'm pretty good about it. So I'll show you that at the end of the video. I don't like to put it at the front because of people who aren't interested, you can peace out, you know, leave the video, go on to whatever else you want to do. And those that are interested could stay tuned. So first thing I want to do is give us a shout out, a Flosstuber shout out to a new Flosstuber. She's fairly new. I think she has about, I think 5 videos up right now. And her name is Heidi. And her Flosstube channel is Stitching Faye. Stitching Faye. And her name is Heidi. It's F-A-E for Faye. And she stitches a lot of different things. I watched all 5 of her videos. I love it. I have subscribed to her channel. I'm hoping she does more. I'm hoping she continues. She lives in California. She stitches Mirabilias, Nora Corbett's, Samplers, Plum Street, Blackbird, Lizzie Kate. So she stitches a wide variety of things, and she has a whole lot of pieces that she has finished through the years, and also a whole bunch of whips. So her first few videos are a whip parade. I think there's 3 for the whip parade. One that's a Nora Corbett, so the designer Nora Corbett, who does Mirabilia and Nora Corbett's. She shows all of her finished Nora Corbett Mirabilias, and she also shows all of the ones that she has kitted up, and the ones that she has just the charts. So she has a wide collection of those also. So sorry, I've had my water bottle over here. It looks like filming on my phone gives me a really wide scope. You guys see a lot of my room. That's my craft closet. That's what holds a lot of my stuff. So I want to give her a big shout out. I found her by watching the 911 Stitcher, Stacy. She shouted her out, so I went to go check out her video, and I gotta tell you, I loved it. Loved it. So Heidi, if you're watching, great job. So let me go ahead and get on to whips. And I think I counted, I have about 9 whips that I had worked on. And I had told you I wanted to be able to work on whatever I felt like working on and things like that. My hair, I'm trying something different. It looks a mess. But that's me. So what I did was I pulled up pieces and I worked on them as long as I wanted to. If I felt like working on a piece and I felt like just working on it for a day, I worked on it for a day. If I felt like working on it for 10 days, I worked on it for 10 days. I didn't limit myself to just a day or 2 on a piece or whatever. So this is just a tracker, my whip tracker that I keep track. This was for the month of August so far. So as you can see, I've worked on these pieces this month, and you can see I've worked quite a few days on each of these pieces. So, you know, some of them I only worked like Do Different by Long Dog. I worked on it for 3 days, but Live on Little, which I'll show you in a minute, is a new one I started. I worked on that one for, looks like 11 days. So I was able to just pull up a piece, work on it as long as I felt like working on it, and switching to something else when I wanted to. Sorry about my voice. So let me get to it. So my first whip was something that I worked on, I think just the day after I did my last video. I worked on it, I pulled it up for a day because I'm trying to work on some of my summer pieces. And I wanted to finish, I had a thread hanging, and when I had showed it to you last time, and that was my Summer by Cricut collection. Hopefully I'm getting that in the frame good. I'm trying to see what I'm doing. This is, like I said, a new filming setup for me. So Summer by the Cricut collection. And where I was before, I had the S done, and I had part of the U done. So I came in and I finished filling in the U because I had the white stitches to still do in the U. So this is where I am on Summer by Cricut collection. So, like I said, I filled in the white. So I just sat there one day and just filled in the rest of that U. So I could feel like I was kind of at a good stopping point. This piece of fabric is, I know I had found, oh, it's on the piece of, no. It's a piece I cut off because these pieces are long and skinny. So, and it's a beautiful blue, which looks really nice for summer. But I don't know if I wrote down what piece of fabric this is, so I'm sorry if I didn't. I'm not seeing it. Well, nope. In this project bag by Garon Toten Bags, I have, this is a larger project bag. I have all of the Cricut Collection seasonal ones. I have winter. I'm not sure if I'm going to get to winter this winter or not, but I have it. And I have autumn. And I have spring. This one has a little glare because it's in a plastic. So I have spring. For spring, I already have a piece of fabric picked out. This is a piece of 32 count green Lugana. I don't know if you could tell too much with it in the package. I'm not gonna take it out and make all that crinkling, but my summer is on this beautiful mottled blue color. It's kind of like Glacier from Picture This Plus, but it's not. I think it's a Jody fabric, I want to say, from Still City Stitchers, and she doesn't name her fabrics. And it is a Lugana. Might be a 32 count. I either work on a 32 or a 28 count Lugana when I work on Luganas. So that was the first whip, and I pulled that out, like I said, maybe the day after I filmed my video and worked on that one just a little bit. My next one is in a project bag made by me using Elizabeth Ann Can Stitch, her tutorial on how to make project bags. I think she has also one for vinyl fronted, but I wasn't brave enough to do the vinyl fronted. I can sew, but I'm not super fantastic at it. This one is, let me see if I can find the cover. This one is by the Blue Flower. This one is, let me take it out of the plastic, Moonlight Sampler. This is one that she came out, I think it was Market last year, or Expo last year maybe. I'm not sure, I don't know. It was a last year release. That's what it looks like. And I just worked on it for a day. And this I do know is Jody fabric from Still City Stitchers. And it's a 32 count Lugana. Let's see if I have the paper. It is 28 count Lugana by Jody Favish from Still City Stitchers. Let me stand up so I can show it up close. And this is how far I am. So when I came in and worked on this one before, remember I called this my Goldilocks project because this was the third piece of fabric. One fabric just wasn't the right color, you know, like too hard, too soft, just right. So I came in and I worked down here. So I did this part one day. And that's as far as I got on this piece. Love Mr. Owl. Love, love, love him. So I didn't get a whole lot more done on this one, but I did get that much. So I'm loving this piece. Loving. And didn't, like I said, I just got the one day on that one. I'll try to just kind of stuff things back in the project bags. I think my problem was one piece of fabric, I didn't like the color. The colors weren't popping well off of it. The other one, the stitch count wasn't right because if I used 2 strands of floss, it was too thick, too bulky. And if I used only one, it was too sparse. So I didn't like how it was looking. So by the time I got to that third piece of fabric, I had stitched that part of it, the owl and the moth, 3 times. So I was kind of like, stitched a lot on this project, didn't get very far. This next piece I did pick up and I worked on for a little while. This is one that I started when I was at StitchCon, and I was working on it in my hotel room at night when I just wanted something for some downtime. And this is another summer piece. This one is Summer at the Shore by Cottage Garden Samplings. And it looks like this. Got to get used to filming this new way. Has it got a lot of glare on it? Kind of. It's hard to see the seagull. So I am stitching this one on a piece of 16 count Country French Cafe Mocha. And I was working away on this one and I got this far. So when I showed it to you guys last time, I had this part of the waves over here and about this much of this post that the seagull's standing on. So I came in, I finished the post, I got his little legs in, the waves on the other side of the post, and I completed the lighthouse. I finished all of that lighthouse. And these stitches right here are the end of his tail, the seagull's tail, where it kind of overlaps over top of the lighthouse. As you can see right there. So I got a good amount done on this one. So I'm happy with my progress. And it might not get pulled out till next summer because I'm, for the most part, a seasonal stitcher. I don't like to stitch that much out of season. I have summer pieces I like to work on in the summertime, and I have fall pieces in the fall time, etc., etc. This next piece, what I've also been doing all for this month is I'll have a piece that's easier for me to stitch on that I stitch in our TV room when I'm sitting in the evenings and watching TV with my husband. Sometimes he's watching a show he's interested in, I'm not so interested in, but I want to sit with him and spend time with him. And so I'll kind of half watch the show, but I stitch at the same time. And, you know, he's more into like Star Trek and all that kind of stuff, and maybe Marvel comics, like watching the Hulk and stuff like that. And they're okay, I'll watch them, but they're just not my favorite. It's not something I got to sit glued to. So I find with me, if I'm watching TV and I'm watching something that doesn't really interest me a whole lot, I fall asleep if I'm just sitting there in a chair and I'm going, okay, I'm getting a little bored, and then I end up falling asleep. So I can stay up and stitch and sit in the room with him. So one of the pieces that I brought in there was my Prairie Schooler, the Village Sampler piece. And I'm getting a good amount done on this one. I think I was working on it a few evenings in there with him. And this one's being stitched on a piece of 16 count Aida in the color Milk Chocolate. And I'm using just the DMCs, the called for DMCs with this one. And one of the reasons I pulled this out is when I was watching Stitching Faye's, one of her whip parades, she was showing a lot of the Prairie Schoolers that she had. And I said, you know, I haven't worked on one of my Prairie Schoolers in a while, and I want to do that. So this is where I am on the Prairie Schooler Village Sampler. So what I had done this last time that I was working on this piece was I finished this building, did the little birdhouse, and then I did all of this, and I extended, this border was only, I think, over to here. So I brought the border over some more, and I did that. So those are, I think there's still a tree here, some little flowers along the fence line, the bucket in the well here, I didn't get those few stitches in. There's some little flowers also at the base of this birdhouse. But I finished most of that part. So that's where I am on this one. Oh, and I also didn't have this little duck done. So I came in and I did that little duck. Isn't he cute? I love him. He's so adorable. There's some rabbits and there's that duck in this one. Prairie Schoolers to me are classic cross stitch. They've been around since, I think, I don't know, the mid 80s. So I've seen some people where they want to make it not, maybe look a little more modern, and they change the colors on some of them. But I have like all of the Prairie Schooler Santas, and I've only stitched one, so I want to get around to getting to more of those because I love them. They're so classic. So that is my Village Sampler by Prairie Schooler. The next piece that I was working on, I have my long dog. I have one long dog, the Pandemic, by them that I'm stitching on. And crazy me, because you know, I'm crazy like this, I decided to start another long dog because you know, one's not enough. So I started, I'm taking out the plastic, Do Different by Long Dog Samplers. And it looks like this. I just really like the design of this. And so I pulled this one up and I started working on it. And I decided I wanted to do this one on, this one is being stitched on a piece of 32 count Lugana in the color Stone Gray. And I only worked on it, I think 2 or 3 days, a little bit. And I got this far. And this is being stitched with DMC 838. It's just a dark brown color on this Stone Gray Lugana. And this is how far I am on this piece. So I'm starting to see the pattern come out. Love it. Sometimes when I just want to work on a monochromatic piece, I'll pull out, you know, like a long dog, or what else do I have that's monochromatic? I think I have like 2 or 3 pieces that are monochromatic. So this one was when I started, and just got, you know, 2 or 3 days worth of work on that one. Because I stopped on that one because I had been waiting for this piece from Plum Street. It was released and I kept waiting to get it and kept waiting to get it and kept waiting to get it. And I was like, when is it ever going to be available for me to get this? The first time I had seen it was probably close to a year ago. Lisa Kindred Stitcher on Flosstube. She had it. She got it as an exclusive retreat piece. So it wasn't available to the public until this past month, I believe. I think it came out in July. And I couldn't get a hold of it till it finally came in on August 7th. I finally got it on August 7th. And I turned around and put down Do Different and started on this one. And this one is Live on Little by Plum Street. And you've probably seen it. A lot of people are working on this one. Like I said, I have wanted this one probably for at least 8 months. Lisa Kindred Stitcher on Flosstube. She has stitched this one. She has finished it. So if you want to see hers finished, go check out Kindred Stitcher. And she's the one that, so enabled me with this one. And I am stitching this one on, the tag's still on it. This is another Jody Favish from Still City Stitchers, a piece of her hand-dyed fabric. And so it's not named. It's a 28 count Lugana. And I worked on this one, like I said, I think 11 days over a couple of weeks period of time. Yeah, get this one out for you. And it looks like this so far. So this is like a brown mottled fabric that I'm doing this piece on. So I started over here, down here where the mermaid is. She's a little bit funky looking. She kind of looks like she has a fish face to me. But I love Paulette Stewart's pieces. And I really, really, really wanted to get over here to this house. So I did get started on the house. Started putting in the stones for that. And so I still need to fill in the rest of this bottom banner. There's some more fish and lobsters and another whale down there. You can see. Oh, this ring light is really causing a glare. So I got to about here on the band. So I still need to do this. And I was working on this part of the house here, the side facing of it. This all right in here is solid stitching. So it's like full coverage. So love it. Wanted this for a while. And to me, this is like a summer piece because it's oceany to me. So I might work on it some more. Or chances are it might not get pulled out till spring, summer, as I get busy into my fall and winter stitching. So that was that whip. Loved working on this one. I really did. Enjoyed it thoroughly. Was so happy to finally have it. The next whip that I have is one that I have been working on. I had to go get it out of the other room because this is the one I have been working on recently while I'm in the other room watching TV with my husband in the evenings. And this is my map of Hawk Run. And this is how far I am right now on this piece. And I'm going to show you what the whole piece looks like. Well, I probably got to take it out of the plastic because everything is glaring really bad. I always want my lighting to be really good for you, lovely people, so that you can see everything really well. This is what the map of Hawk Run looks like. So I started up here in this upper corner, and I've been working down the hawk's wing. So what I had done first is I came in and I put this orchard road in, the wagon, the horse, these ears of corn, and then I worked on this Bailey Bridge, this water and the bridge here. And then I came over and I decided I wanted to work more on the hawk. So this is where I was. This was a page break right here on the hawk. So I wanted to get the rest of his wing in. And so far I've got this much over the last few days, sitting in there watching TV. So this is how far I am on this piece. I still have a little bit more. There's an apple orchard up here, some trees, there's some birds flying. And then of course there's the rest of this field. This was a page break right here. So working along. I did change, I am using the DMC conversion for this one, but I did switch out the blue of the water. And I also switched out the kind of yellow color I'm using here and here. The color called for was very, very close to the beak. And it just looked like it was part of his beak. And so I switched it to something a little bit different. And I did switch one of these greens because they were blending up. There's actually 3 different green colors here, but they were blending in and looking too much like each other because there's actually 2 different greens in this tree here. But they're very, very close. So I did go in and switch, I think this lighter green or something. So this is where I am on Map of Hawk Run Hollow. And as I've told you before, I have 5 Hawk Runs. Love each and every one. So I try to pull them up and get work on them fairly often. At least try to, you know, pull one up every so often and work on it for a little while because I got a lot, and they're dense stitching. They have a lot of stitching in them. Now, this one I was working on the last few days in here in my craft room. This was because this is more intricate. This is one I put on I have it on my floor stand in here with my good lighting and more where I can concentrate on it. I will, you know, like I said, maybe stream a YouTube video or something, but I can concentrate because I don't have anybody talking to me. I have better light in here. I have good light in the other room, but I have better lighting in here to work on some of my more intricate pieces. And this one is a Mirabilia. And I had worked on her, I think before, like 2 or 3 days. So I pulled her up and I worked on her for about 3 more days recently. And this one is my Venetian Opulence. Maybe I need to turn this brightness down. Let me try that. Sorry, everybody. I'm probably shaking. Let's see if I can turn it down a little bit. Maybe it won't glare as badly. Well, maybe. Venetian Opulence by Mirabilia. I had seen this one stitched up. I go to a small private kind of gathering 3 times a year out in Ocean City. We're called the Tangled Stitchers, and one of the ladies, Karen, had stitched this one up and finished it and brought it as her ta-da. At StitchCon, they call it a brag table, and at our little retreat, we call this a ta-da. Like, ta-da! Look what I did. So she brought her framed piece, and it was just gorgeous. That's the first time I've seen this one stitched up. You don't see a lot of people working on her. And mine is being stitched on a 32 count piece of Lugana fabric in the color Mushroom. And I'm using all the called for. I don't switch colors normally. I have not yet, anyway, switch colors on a Mirabilia. I have joined a Mirabilia conversion Facebook group to see what other people do with some of their pieces. And it doesn't, oh, she's upside down. And it doesn't look like much. It's hard to tell. But this is her fan, part of her fan that she's holding in her hand. So this is part of her hand. Little bit of her arm skin on the edge here. And this is kind of her waist right here. Because if you notice, I did this gold krynic right here, this round, I don't know what you would call it. It's kind of a jewel piece that's holding her sash at her waist. And it is, oh my gosh, the glare is killing me. It's right here. So I've worked right in here. A little bit of her fan, the little edge of her arm, and this part of her waist is what I have done so far. So kind of hard to tell. It looks like that it's a Mirabilia that's supposed to be a lady yet, because it just looks like a jumble of colors. But that's where I am on her. But there are so many different colors of purples and pinks and reds and brown and everything else going on right in there that it's taking me a little while. This one's a little bit more intricate than some, I think. But what is beautiful about her is all of the different colors that she's got going on in her gown. She's got some blues, she's got some greens, she's got the pinks, the fuchsia, you know, the purples. So she is gorgeous. And that's where I am on her. I'm trying to also pick up and work on Mirabilias fairly frequently because I have a few of them on the go, and another one on my radar that I'm going to show you that I'm thinking of starting very, very soon. So my last whip that I have to show you guys that I've been working on is another Hawk Run Hollow. And let me take it out of the plastic. Sorry for any crinkly noise. But this one is Halloween at Hawk Run. Quite a bit of people working on this one. And this is what this one looks like. And when I had showed it to you guys last, I had this block filled in. And then I had told you one of my goals is to grid in all of the blocks and all of my Hawk Runs that are in block style like this, so that I can come in and I can work on any block I choose. So I was doing that, and this is what I was working on in the other room before Map of Hawk Run. I was working on my Halloween at Hawk Run. This one is being stitched on a piece of 16 count Aida in the color J, J-A-Y. So it's kind of a purpley blue color. And I came in and I finished all the blocks. I got them all gridded in. And after I did that, I decided, you know what? I'm going to start filling in this block right here. So that's what I did. Started filling this one in. So I got half of this block completed, I would say. Already had this one done. And there's still another tree, another tombstone over here on the other side of this square. So I finished this part in here. So I have this part right here left to do still. And I really want to come down here and work here on this pumpkin and cat. I think it's going to be where I'm going to go next when I pick this up. Because we are heading into the fall season, so I really want to get some more work done, which I'm going to show you later in my plans of some fall stitching things that I have that are going to be coming up really soon. Got to back up more to show. This is a fairly large piece, and like I said, they're dense stitching. Because like when you look, I don't know how many hundreds and hundreds of stitches I've already done in this. This is all solid filled in stitching. And there is one block on this that is completely filled in, is solid stitching, and that's this one down here in the corner. This is completely filled in. This one's almost completely filled in. It just has the very, very top that's not. This one's filled in quite a bit. So there's a lot of stitching in these pieces. So that is my Halloween at Hawk Run, and that's the last whip I have to show you of what I've been working on the month of August. So, let me set this to the side. Gather all its pieces. Try to keep things kind of together as best I can without wasting a lot of time. Set it down here. Okay, so after the whips, I wanted to show you, like I had showed you, I worked a little bit on the Cricket summer piece and finished the U, and I worked on my Summer at the Shore by Cottage Garden, worked on that one with the seagull and the lighthouse. I've been working on some summer pieces, so there are still two that I'd really like to try to get some work on because I haven't touched these two yet this year. And one of them's a Hawk Run. It's my Shores of Hawk Run. I kind of consider that a summer piece because there again, it's oceany, beachy themed. And it looks like this. Let me take it out of the plastic. I'm sure most of you know what it looks like, but let me show you. Refresh your minds. Looks like this. This was another piece I sat and I worked and I gridded out all of the squares. So now I'm ready to just stitch away in the squares. I'd already had this one done. I've omitted these seagulls here. I did stitch this one. I'm not sure whether or not I want to stitch those seagulls in. And I had already had quite a bit of this square finished. But I did come in recently and grid it. Get it all gridded in. But what I want to do is at least finish that second square before I put this away for the winter, for fall and winter stitching. And this one is being stitched on a 16 count piece of Aida that I coffee and tea dyed myself. So I came and I gridded in all of the squares. You can see that. And this is where I am right now on this piece. Like I said, I had finished this one. And I am using the called for DMCs. And I got this much of this square done. There's still a little lady on the widow's walk up here. There's the grass and there's some ocean on either side. This same motif over here is over here. So I still have that to finish. Let me show you in this square. So I still have to do this fence and grass and flowers, these sailboats in the water, you know, this other one of this. So I still have this and this little lady up here to still stitch in on this piece in that square. So that's what my plan is. I'd like to be able to at least get that second block finished before this gets put away for a little while. Because I also have Christmas at Hawk Run. So in the winter time, I can work on my Christmas one. I still need to grid in the blocks for my Christmas at Hawk Run. That's the only one I have left. I have done the other three. Shores, Halloween. Oh yeah, and Village of Hawk Run I have. All of those I've gridded in, so I just have Christmas left to grid in, and I will have them all the squares gridded in for those, and that's going to be really nice. The other one that I haven't been able to stitch on yet this summer, haven't gotten a chance to get around to, that I want to at least work on a little bit, that is by Teresa Kogut, and it's called Land That I Love. Looks like this. And something is getting ready to fall out. I am stitching this one on a piece of 16 count Aida in the color Lamb's Wool. And I am using, I think all the called for on this one. I always say that, but usually I stitch from stash. Knowing me, I probably switched colors. Only a couple. Pretty much I'm using the called for colors for this one. And then if I don't have the called for colors, can't get the called for colors, wasn't able to get them before I started it, then I will go in my stash and find something comparable and switch it out. Is what I end up doing a lot of times. But this is where I am in Land That I Love. And I would love to be able to get a little bit more done on this one, because like I said, I haven't touched this one this summer. And I consider patriotic and oceany, beachy, you know, Nantucket looking things, I consider those summer pieces. So I'd really like to get a little bit more done on this one. Like at least come in and finish the eagle, you know, get this other wing filled in. I have the one side filled in, but not the other. Maybe get a little more of the border done, something. There is some more stitching on the other side over here. You know, there's this other basket with this flag. You know, I still have all of that on that top part to do. Then you got this beautiful strawberry vine and these houses. I love to stitch houses. I don't know why, but I do. I don't know about any of you out there. I know some people don't like them and some people love them. I'm one of those that love to stitch houses. Love it. So those are on my radar. And then the other thing is, oops, let's go to the Land That I Love. Let me put it with it. Okay. The other thing that I wanted to show you guys is fall stitching. I am getting ready to start a stitch today, and this one is for any of you that have watched Barb from Lost in Floss. She actually started it with her friend Leanne, her Flosstube channel. It was Leanne and Barb that did it, and then Leanne passed away, I want to say a couple of years ago. And so what Barb is doing, and she's doing a kind of a memory stitch along. It's in honor of Leanne, in memory of her, for her birthday. Today, August 24th, was Leanne's birthday, and so she is starting a kind of just a hashtag on Instagram. I'm not gonna say that I'm gonna get this thing done anytime soon, but I am gonna start it today. And so it's Barb Lost in Floss, and the hashtag for this stitch, this memorial stitch, is Leanne Legacy, hashtag Leanne's Legacy. So Leanne loved fall pieces, so I have been itching to start some fall stitching because I love fall stitching, just love it. So I'm going to show you things that I have, but this is going to be the first piece that I'm going to pick up and work on that's fall themed. And this is a new start, and this one is the Gather In by Plum Street. Looks like this. And I am going to stitch this piece on a piece of 16 count Aida in the color Moccasin by Fortnite Fabrics. You see that's Fortnite Fabrics. It's color Moccasin. It says it's a half yard, but it's not. It's not. You don't need a half yard for that piece. But it's a beautiful tan mottled piece of fabric. And I think when I started, I want to put the house down in the dark part because the house is kind of an off-white color. Or house, I don't know if it's an inn or a barn, combo of both, because you can see that there's a horse there with the, at the opening to the barn door, it looks like, with all of the pumpkins stacked in there. So I'm going to stitch it on this piece of fabric and start that one later today. So that is for Leanne. For Barb is doing this for Leanne. And that their Flosstube channel was Lost in Floss. So if you want to check her out, she has lots of lovely stitching also. So the rest that I want to show you is fall whips, works in progress that I have. The first one that I have is, oh, this isn't a whip. This is something that I kitted. I'm not sure I'm going to get around to this fall because I'm starting this one. And another piece that I want to start as soon as I can get my hands on it is an expo release. And it is, oh, I can't show you because I'm using my phone to film. I have a picture on my phone of the sampler, but it's by Teresa Kogut. She's coming out with a book called Hello Halloween. And there are, I think, a total of 12 patterns, I believe, in it. And one of them is this beautiful, long, large sampler with cats and witches and pumpkins that says Halloween in the middle. I want to start that one. So as soon as I can get that hold of that book, I want to get that one started. That is on my radar to start that one this fall. But I do have this Plum Street Samplers Olga stocking. This I picked up and kitted at StitchCon at Keepsakes in Ohio when I was there back in June. I'm missing 2 of the overdyed colors, so I still have those on a list to try to find, and if I can't, I will kit with something that I have in my stash that is comparable. So I love, 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 love fall stitching. So that is on my radar, and I have a piece of fabric. Like I said, I have most of the called for colors down in here. I don't think they're on a floss ring yet. And the piece of fabric that I wanted to stitch it on, is there still a label on it? Looks like it's probably a 28 count Lugana in the color Mushroom, I believe. So just a piece of Mushroom Lugana. Just a plain piece. It doesn't have, it's not overdyed, it's just a regular piece of fabric. So I have that in this bag, kitted up with that, if I get a chance to get around to starting this one. But I'm trying to pace myself on my starts and not start everything and only get a tiny bit on everything. So that is one that I have kitted up. Now this one I kitted up last year, and I wanted to start it last year and didn't get around to it, didn't have time. And I'm thinking of starting it this time because I am going to be going to visit my mom this next month. And I wanted to have a little piece that I could take with me to stitch on. And this one is also by Plum Street Samplers, and it's called Sweater Weather with the little Dawsons. Look at those. And I love sweater weather. Sweater weather is my season. I love layering. I love having a sweater, a hoodie, or layering a light top with a little sweater over it. And I love wearing my jeans and my boots. I love wearing boots and sweaters. So I love sweater weather. So I have this one kitted. And like I said, more than likely, I'm going to start this one. And I've kitted this one with a piece of 16 count Mellow, 16 count Ada in the color Mellow by Picture This Plus. So it has a very, very slight yellowy tint to it. Mellow. It's a mellow yellow. Looks like this. It's not going to need a very big piece. It's not a huge piece to stitch. This one is a 12 by 17 piece of fabric. And look, I already have a needle stuck up here. Obviously, because I was going to start this one. And then I saw the piece of the needle there and I thought, good, because if I forget to bring needles, at least I have a needle in it when I go to visit my mom. She lives down in Florida. And haven't seen her since Christmas, so I want to get down there and visit with her. And maybe with my my really good friend Lynn. I'm going to have to let her know I'm going to be down that way. See if we can catch up with each other. Possibly. So that is on my radar to start. And then these, the rest of these are fall Halloween whips that I have going. This first one is a Nora Corbett. It's one of her Bewitching Pixies, and this one's Gigi. Beautiful, beautiful blue witch. And I had started her last year. Well, I had started her first. I had started her on the called for fabric, which was milk chocolate. Let's see if I get this going in the right direction. So I had started her on this. And then I wasn't sure if I was really liking her on the milk chocolate. Because I also had this piece of Fabric Flare fabric that I'm not sure what it's called. It just says gray on the side, but Fabric Flare prints on one side. The other side's blank, but they print on the one side. And so I restarted her on this last year. So that's part of her gown. And I think I might like it on that. So let's see. So I would like to get some more stitching on that to see if I am liking it on the gray fabric. So it's Gigi by Nora Corbett. If you're ever tempted and you've ever thought of, you haven't started a Mirabilia, but you would like to maybe do a Mirabilia, but you're a little bit hesitant, a little intimidated, I would say pick up a Nora Corbett because they're smaller. They're not as large. A lot of Mirabilias probably measure somewhere around 12 to 18 inches high. You know, they're a little bit bigger. The Noras are smaller. Put her away. I don't know what the stitch count is. They're not as big. They're not as, and usually they don't need as many beads, especially some of them, and crynecks and special things like that. This next piece, this next fall work in progress that I have is by Twin Peak Primitives, called The First Thanksgiving. It's like this. This one I am stitching on a piece of 16 count Ada in the color Dirty. And I'm using most of the called for colors and a few from my stash, which is pretty much what I do with a lot of things, it seems like. So this is where I am right now on First Thanksgiving. So I've got part of the border, part of the bunting, the British flag, the Union Jack, the date 1621, and then this is supposed to be the Plymouth Plantation, the Plymouth Colony vignette in the like the center square, and that's how far I am on that one. That's where I am switching some of the colors, I think, because I don't remember if I had them or if the colors just didn't look right. So I switched out some. So that's this. I've done this over here. So that's where I am on this one. So this is one I would like to get some more work done on this fall. This is going to be really pretty to hang up in November time frame for Thanksgiving. So stick it back in its project bag real quick. Just kind of tuck it in there. The next one is by Blackbird Designs, and this one is called Midnight's Watch. It looks like this. And I have, looks like I'm stitching this on a Picture This Plus 16 count Ada in the color Storm, which is kind of a gray blue color. And this is where I am on this piece. Oop, I still have a thread hanging. I must have stopped mid-stitch. I was stitching in that moon and stopped. So that's only how far I am on this piece. So I'd like to get some more done on this one too, this fall. Because I probably haven't touched it since last fall. Because like I said, I'm usually more in season kind of stitcher. So that's where I am on that one. And I would like to, you know, that's another one that's going to be on my radar to work on over the next couple of months. And this one is by Shannon Christine Designs, and it's called Trick or Treat Sampler. It's not very big. This one's a small one. You'd think I'd have it finished already. But for some reason, I just don't pull up the small ones and work on them. I want to work on my large pieces. I don't know why. Maybe I feel like, oh, I could finish that one easy. I'll work on that later. I don't know. Who knows my thinking? This is a piece of 16 count Dirty Ada. And this is where I am on this one. So I finished the whole top, finished the whole border. I have this little band down here. And this one is a little witch trick-or-treater. You can see her little outfit and the outline of her pumpkin treat thing that she's holding, her little treat bucket, candy bucket. She's right here. So I have to finish her, these other two little trick-or-treaters, the dinosaur and the princess, and do this middle section, which is candy corns and a black cat, says trick-or-treat. I need to finish just that much more of this one to finish. It's cute. It's going to be probably a tabletop piece. I'll probably finish it in some kind of maybe flat fold or something. And put it, you know, have it as a tabletop piece for October. So we'll see if I can get this one finished. Maybe I can get it finished this year. We'll see. I don't hold myself to it. I don't want to pressure myself. Yes, I could easily get that one finished if I just focused on it. But as soon as I say I want to finish it, I won't finish it because I just seem to be a rebel against my own rules. If I say I'm going to do something, that's just like, it's the kiss of death. Because it's like, ain't going to happen because I squirrel and I'll go on to something else instead. So this is by Leela Studios, and this is the Halloween Quaker. A lot of people on Flosstube are working on this, and on Instagram have finished it even. I started up here, so I just have a couple of these motifs done, and that's it. I am not very far on this one. This one is a 16 count piece of Ada by Picture This Plus, I can tell, but what color is this one? It is Mirage by Picture This Plus. Like I said, 16 count Ada. I am using all the called for DMC overdyes for this one. Let's see what direction this one goes. Goes this way. And that's all I have. I have this motif finished, this little tiny one, and part of this one. I don't have that one completely finished. And it's a beautiful piece of kind of grayish fabric. A lot of people, I think the called for was murky, and I couldn't find murky back when I was starting this one. So I picked out this color instead. That's where I am. It's going to be beautiful when it's finished. It's fun to work on, so stick that down in there. Getting quite a pile on the floor. The next fall whip I have is by Autumn Lane Stitchery, and this one's called Autumn Town. I'll take it out of the plastic. And it looks like this. Now this piece here is, everything is stitched except for the green little spaces in here that's supposed to be all the grassy area. That is actually the fabric. So the recommended is to pick a piece of green fabric to stitch this one on. And I am stitching it on a piece of it's not 16 count. This is a Lugana. This one is, which are even weaves, 32 count Lugana in the color green. And last fall I started this and I got this far on it. That's all I have so far on this piece. So as you can see, that the sky is stitched in, and then these are the trees I have, trees and bushes and things that I have so far stitched in on this one. So I am up here. This is all I have, it's just this part up in here. So I'm working my way to get started to work into some of those houses. So not very far on this one. I did on this one, I picked up a few of my, I am in the Silk of the Month Club by Bestitch Me Fabrics with Brandy. And I had switched in a few of her silks on some of these colors. So I do have, you know, for the orange and the yellow, I have some of the Bestitch Me silks. The rest of these are DMCs. This one is a Victorian motto for one of the red colors. Has a little tiny bit of variegation in it for some of the red trees. So I did switch in a few colors, different on this one. And some more of the over-dyed silks, oranges and browns. So I am using some of those colors, those variegated colors for some of the trees in this design. So that is another one that's on my radar to work on. And I have a couple more, well, actually a few more. This one piece, I hear my husband out there. Thought he was coming in the door. Because I did tell him earlier I'd be filming a video, but, and he works from home. He's upstairs, but I don't know what time it is. He might be finished working, so. This next one is, and I don't know if I'll get around to this one, but it is darn cute. This is a ancient whip. This is one that I started probably back in like 2000. And it is by Stony Creek, and it is called Halloween Scarecrows. And I am just stitching this one. It looks like on a, it might be an 18 count Aida in the color Ivory. That's what it looks like to me, because I didn't keep track of my colors, but that's what it looks like. And this is where I am. I even have a thread. It looks like I was working on maybe the sign or the witch's hat over here in between the two scarecrows. I think I still have, the scarecrows are done. I think I still have a little bit of back stitching to do. And I believe there's a crow that sits on his shoulder, his arm. But she has a kitty cat lounging on hers. But there is still some back stitching to be done in them. And then the little witch on the pumpkin and the sign. And these letters in the sign are glow in the dark threads that I do have. I think they're in my stash somewhere, because I did buy them for this, because I thought, how cool. I was working on this when my kids were younger, and thought that this is so cute. I still think it's cute. I do want to finish it one day. Did all that stitching on it. I'm not just gonna get rid of it and not finish it, but we will see when I have to pull back out the threads. It's just DMCs that I use for this. And I just have it in a bag, but there is quite an extensive list of DMCs for it, for all of these. So I would have to figure out what DMCs I need and pull them out to be able to work on this piece, which isn't that hard. I can do that. And then my last is some Halloween pieces. They're in one of my large Garon toten bags. This one houses 3 different Halloween pieces in it. And one of them is by Glendon Place, and it's called Sleepy Hollow. Who did I see that just finished this one? I was just watching a Flosstuber that has finished this one. Oh, she lives in Germany. Her name is Danny. I think it's Stitching Danny. Something like that is her Flosstube channel. She has just recently finished this one. And all of this border here has a lot of beading and Kreinik. And the moon is actually a Caron Water Lilies color called Lemon Lime. This one I am stitching on, let's see, did I write it down? Sleepy Hollow. I might not have. I want to say this is a piece of Haunted by Picture This Plus. Let me see if I can find a piece of paper for it. Yes, Haunted, 16 count Ada in the color Haunted by Picture This Plus. Using the called for DMCs, I have the beads and the Caron Water Lilies color for this one. So I am using all of the called for and stitching it on this piece of Haunted. And I only have the horse's rear. Haven't touched this one since last fall. So I'm hoping to get some more work done on this. This was the end of a page. That was an end of a page. This was an end of a page. So this horse is right in the middle of the piece. And so he goes on quite a few of the pages. Him and his rider, the headless horseman. So all I have done is this down here, you know, this little area. But this one is beautiful. And it says, in a grave lies the horseman. His head is at his side. Be brave enough to take it. And again, by night we will ride. So, love this fabric. Love the colors of it. It's kind of greeny, bluey, gray, all murky. Really pretty. Haunted by Picture This Plus. That is in this bag. And also I have Bellatrix by Bella Filipina. She is a sorceress. She looks like this. Oh, my goodness, the glare. She looks like this. And I had started on her, I got a little bit of the archway and a little bit of her done. And this one is being stitched on, where's her piece of paper? It's her pattern. Here we go. 16 count Ada and question mark. I did not know what piece of fabric this one is. Kind of a purpley gray mottled. It's a Picture This Plus, I can tell for sure. This is where I am on her. This is the ball of fire she's holding in her hand, and the archway of the window she's looking out of. There's lots of beads and Kreinik up in here. I did all of the DMC stitching. I am using all of the called for threads, beads, and Kreinik for her. So I started her face. It's not outlined. This is where an earring is, so there's a lot of beading there. There's still a bunch of her hair that's flowing that I don't have done. And then just started on some of her shoulder. Where's her picture? Where did I put her? She's right here. So just where this shawl is draping over her shoulder and this part of her hair. So it's her hair flows this way. In the ball of fire that she's holding in her hand. So it's still a lot to get done on her. So I want to work on her some. And a new piece that I want to start is in this bag. And it's a Mirabilia. And let me get her out of the plastic. I haven't started her yet. I just have her kitted with the DMCs, all her beads, her bead pack, her whisper threads. She has black whisper, some Caron Water Lilies. But this is the Raven Queen by Mirabilia. I want to start her this fall. I want to have queens going for every season. Right now I have the Winter Queen. I think she's the only queen I have going. Yep. I have Royal Holiday, the Christmas Queen, and Raven Queen that is more kind of Halloween themed to me. And I got the Spring Queen, the Summer Queen, the Autumn Queen. I do have the Autumn Queen. Autumn and Winter, the only two I have going. I want to do her on this piece of fabric. This is Tulips Sunrise, and it's a 32 count Lugana by Under the Sea Fabrics. And it looks like this. I am going to stitch her on this. I'm going to see how that looks. A lady for her ta-da at the Ocean City retreat had Raven Queen on kind of a pinky orangey glowy kind of fabric, and she had her all finished up and framed, and she was absolutely gorgeous. So I got this piece of fabric at StitchCon, and I want to stitch her on this piece. That is my plan, and I'm excited to get started on this one to see how she's going to look on this fabric. She's a lot of teal and black, and I think she's just going to look gorgeous on that. So that is another one that's on my radar to start this fall. And by fall, I mean September, October, November kind of time frame is what I consider kind of fallish. Christmas start, I might start, you know, winter Christmas stitching in November, you know, November, December, January kind of thing. Do that kind of stuff. So that is that. That is all of my fall whips and what's on my radar, and all of my craziness going on here. So the next thing that I wanted to do was put that with that. I wanted to, sorry, I have so many projects in this one bag. I'll have a crazy mess. Let me go ahead and do my winners for my giveaway, for my 5,000 subscriber giveaway that I had announced on my last video, on Flosstube video number 28. And since I'm filming on my phone, and I had such a issue going on the last time I was doing a giveaway, I decided to go ahead and just do the random, it worked, the random comment picker this time, but I went ahead and did it before I started my video so that I didn't have to worry about trying to load it onto my iPad, do something different. And I just wanted to make sure that I wasn't going to have any problems during my video, because I don't want to be in the middle of my video and then it doesn't work. And then I'm like, now what do I do? So I just went ahead and drew the winners using the random comment picker from my last Flosstube video. And the first giveaway that I was doing was these Little House Needleworks, the seasonal band samplers. So I had all 4 seasons, spring, summer, winter, and fall. I had all of these. I was giving them away as a bundle. And I said to say the word seasons. Excuse me. And so I had 122 comments with the word seasons, and the winner is Norma Lopez. Norma Lopez. So Norma, if you could email me with your mailing address, I'll get these out in the mail to you. You are the winner of the seasons by Little House Needleworks. All 4 of those. The next one was for I had 2 of the beautiful Raven Queen. Oops, I'm pulling her photo off of the top of her thing. So I was giving away my second copy of the Raven Queen by Mirabilia. And I said to say the word Raven. So I did the random comment picker, and it said that there were 111 comments with the word Raven. And the winner is Norma Jean Sicard? S-I-C-A-R-D. Norma Jean Sicard. So again, Norma, get with me, give me your mailing address. I can get that mailed out to you. Congratulations. And the last one was my Quaker study that I finished at StitchCon. Bought at StitchCon at Keepsakes last year, finished it this year. And so I'm giving away my copy. I don't write or highlight or anything on my copy. Looks like new. Very good shape. And I said to say the word study. There were 95 comments, and the winner is Dana Bryant. Dana Bryant. B-R-Y-A-N-T. So congratulations, you three. Email me at thevirginiastitcher@gmail.com. It's thevastitcher@gmail.com. And get me I need to have your mailing address to mail these prizes to you guys. So congratulations. Yay, yay, yay. Congratulations. Thank you for everybody who did comment and things like that. I read each and every one. I love all of your comments, as I've always say. I love the interaction. I love hearing from you guys. I talk to you. But your comments are you talking back to me. I love it. I love it, love it, love it. So that takes care of that. Now in the comments, like I had said, I'm sorry, I'm looking at my notes. I had one Flosstuber comment and said, how do I measure and start my pieces? And I have had several comments through the past year or so that I've been doing my videos on, you know, how do you figure out the size of your fabric? How do you know where to start your piece on your fabric, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So because I am getting ready to start this piece today, and I have my piece of fabric selected for my piece, I'm going to use this piece of fabric of Moccasin by Fortnite Fabrics. Oh shoot, I'm using my phone. I use the calculator on my phone. I don't have a calculator in my desk, I don't think. I can tell you how I do it though. And I already know this piece of fabric is going to be big enough. Okay, so on your patterns, they will always give you somewhere the stitch count. So right here is the stitch count for this piece that I want to start. And so the stitch count is 196 wide by 149 stitches high. So what I do, this piece of fabric right here is a 16 count piece of Aida. So I want to take that stitch count and I want to divide it by 16. So if I hope you guys can't hear that. My husband started doing yard work. I guess he's done working and he's out there with the weed eater in the backyard. So if it's 196 stitches wide, I take 196 and divide it by 16. And it'll give you how many inches wide that your design should be. So if I remember right, I think I did the calculations to make sure my piece of fabric was going to be big enough. It's somewhere around, I think, like 12 inches, like 12 1/4 inches, like 12.25 or something like that. So, so say if it's 12 inches wide, you know, because I can't use my calculator on my phone because I'm filming with it, and I could get out a piece of paper and figure it all out, you know, longhand, but I don't want to waste your time trying to do that. And then it says it's 149 stitches high. And so then I take 149 and I divide it by 16. And then I figure out how many inches high my design is going to be. And I think it was somewhere around 9 inches. So say if it's 12 by 9, just say if the piece is 12 inches by 9 inches. If you're working with a piece of, say you want to work on a piece of 32 count linen or even weave, but you're going to stitch over 2. You're going to do 2 over 2 on 32 count. because you're doing over 2, you have to take the number 32 and you divide it by 2 because you're going to be going over 2 threads. Okay, so it's 32 per inch is what they mean by when they call your fabric a 32 count or a 16 count or a 28 count or a 40 count. That's how many in an inch, how many stitches you can get. But if you're going over 2, you need to divide 32 by 2, which will be 16. So it'd still be the same 12 by 9, we're saying. So, but if you're going to do it on 40 count over 2, it would be divided by 20, because 40 divided by 2 is 20. So it's comparable to a 20 count Ada. Then you divide it by 20, and that would give you your dimensions of your design. So if my design is going to be 12 inches wide, my piece of fabric measures approximately 20 inches, okay? So if my piece, say, measures 20 inches and my design is 12 inches, that leaves me 8. Take 12 away from 20, and that leaves me 8 inches left, okay? So 8 inches divided by 2, because you got a margin on your left and a margin on your right, would be 4 inches for a margin on this piece of fabric if my piece is, 12 inches. Okay, so I know I can have a 4-inch margin. I can come in 4 inches and have a 4-inch margin on this piece of fabric on my left and my right. Now from top to bottom, if I said that the piece was 9 inches high, this piece measures 17 inches, okay? So it measures about 17. So you take 9 away from 17, that leaves you with 8 inches. Same thing, you got a border on your top and a border on your bottom. If you divide 8 inches into 2 for a top and a bottom margin, you're gonna have 4 inches on each side, okay? So if my piece is a 9 by 12 piece, I can have a 4-inch margin all the way around on this piece. So a tool that I use most of the time is it's an OmniGrid. It's a quilter square or whatever they're called. So this one actually is 4 inches by 4 inches, but it also has marks for 1 inch and 2 inch and 3 inch on here. But it all the way, this is a 4 inch by 4 inch square. So if I take this and I lay it up in a corner and I say, there's my margins, 4 inches down, 4 inches in. So I'm going to start stitching right here. On this piece, I know I want to start my piece down here in the corner because I want to start out right down here in all of this stitching. You could start up here, you could start over here, you could start over here, you could start in the middle. When you're working with a piece, a pattern, a lot of times they will have an arrow in the middle of where the middle of your width is and your height. So they'll have an arrow at the top and they'll have an arrow on the side, and then you meet those two up and that'll show you where the middle of your piece is. So say if the middle of the piece is maybe like right here, then how I do a middle start on my piece, I know I'm going to have 4 inch margin all the way around, so I'm good to go. I would take and fold my piece in half, fold my piece in half again, okay, kind of pinch my fabric. I want to try to kind of make a crease in the where it's folded and folded again, because this is the middle of my fabric right here in the fold. So when I undo it, right here is the middle of my piece of fabric, and that would be where I would start a center start. Okay, sometimes when I'm doing a center start, maybe it's a center but over like a tiny bit to the left or the right or up or down. I might move around in here because I know I've got 4 inches to play with, so it doesn't have to be exact science. But if you're really nervous, then start smack in the middle and count. I know I might count over like, okay, I want to start on the corner of the roof or something like that, but maybe it's like six stitches over. I'll just count 6 stitches over from my middle, wherever my middle spot was. and then start stitching there. So, but I'm going to start in a lower corner and then just measure in 4 inches by 4 inches and start on whatever, wherever that corner of that design is, which I think is like a fence down there. So I'm just going to, I would start my piece right here and start stitching and then stitching up and over. So I hope that helped those of you that are always wondering how to start your piece. How do you know how to start a piece? And that's how I do it. Now, if you're working on 32 count and you're just going to do 1 over 1, you're just going to do over one little, you want to do one stitching, then you divide it by 32. But just always remember, if you're going to do it over 2 on those larger counts, like on linens and things, divide it by 2 first. So if you're working on a 32 count, you divide it by 2, it's 16. So then you take your dimensions and divide it by 16, and that'll give you how many inches your piece is going to measure when it's finished. Okay, and that is that for how do I start a piece of fabric lesson. How do I start a new piece? And sometimes too, that's why I like starting them, because then once they're started, I know I can just pick them up and just start stitching on them, because I've already done all the calculations, the measurements, figured out what piece of fabric I want to use, etc., etc. And I can just get stitching and have fun. So that is that. Oh, and then the other thing I wanted to show you guys, another how-to. This goes in the realm of organization. I recently finally decided that I had this dresser over here. 2 of the drawers on this side were full of all of my cross-stitch fabric. I had Ada's in the top drawer and my even weaves in the second drawer down. But every time I went in there and was looking for a piece, I had to pull pieces out and I was making a mess, and then they would just be all over the place and I had, you know, I couldn't see them all. So I finally got around to doing some fabric organization. So what I did was I decided to use, this isn't I'm copying what I had seen other people doing. And this is using comic book boards. Okay, and what I did is I went on Amazon and I bought some comic book boards. So this was, I bought 100 pack of these comic book boards that measure 6 7/8 by 10.5 inches, and I just bought the regular comic book boards, just regular, and they look like this. They're just a board. They're a cardstock, like poster board. And what I did, and I have 2 pieces of fabric that I recently got in. I bought those. I bought these plastic alligator clips. This is a bag of 500. And they're not that expensive. They're just little plastic clips. They're like what they use when you get new shirts and things like that. They're these little, gotta get used to this camera. Little alligator clips. Okay, they're plastic. I wanted plastic because I didn't want to have to worry about metal pins or anything like that maybe rusting in the future in my fabric. So I'm using these little plastic clips to attach my pieces of fabric to the comic book boards. But I'm going to show, and then I got these collapsible organization boxes. I've got these came in a set of 2. And what I did was my boards were 9 7/8, which is basically like 10 inch, 6 7/8, basically like 7 inches high by 10.5 inches long. Because when I'm setting my pieces down in there, they set like this. And then I write up in the corner what the fabric is. So I found a box with a lid that measures 12 inches wide. So my comic book boards are 10.5, so that leaves enough space, you know, to get them in and out easily. And it is 16.5 inches, it looks like, long. And my comic book boards are 7 inches tall, and this is 7 inches. tall, these boxes. So they're 7 inches tall, 12 inches wide, and 16.5 inches, I think, long. Which way is it? Oh, and so here is one of my boxes full of my fabric. So now when I pull the lid off of my box, I can see my fabric. I can see every color in here, just like this. Because they're wrapped around these comic book boards. And then every piece I have written the count, you know, what kind of fabric it is, what color it is, and how big of a piece of fabric it is. How many inches. So right away I can see, you know, how is, you know, do I like this color of Ada, but will it be big enough for my piece of my piece that I want to work on? You know, is it a big enough piece? I can see all of that just by glancing in this box. It's kind of hard to show you guys. I don't know if I'll fall out. And how I attach them, I got a piece of fabric here. This is a piece of gingerbread, 32 count Lugana in the color gingerbread by Picture This Plus. And this is a fat quarter, measures 18 inches by 25 inches. Okay, so I have this piece of fabric, just got it in an order I placed with 1, 2, 3 stitch. So what I write up in the corner, 32 count Lugana, gingerbread, Picture This Plus, PTP, 18 by 25. So immediately when I'm looking through my box, I can see these in my margin of the board, of my comic book board. And I can see how big the piece is, what kind of count it is, what color it is, what's the name of it. So it's going to be kind of hard for me to show you without laying it on the table. But how I do it was I kind of third folded pieces this size. Okay. Third folded it. And then I laid it on my board. I don't want to cover this. I kind of lay it in the middle of my board, like so. And then I just wrap it around. And I took, 1, 2, 3 stitch has a label on there. I just stuck the label there just for the heck of it, just because. And I just rolled, and usually I do this laying flat on a table, and wind the fabric around the board. And then I take my, see on the back here, I got this little extra, this is where it ended. I'm going to clip it with my alligator clip. I'm just going to clip it to itself. Doesn't need to be clipped to the board. Just clipping it to itself. Oops, I didn't clip it to itself. I missed it. Lay it down here. So I just clip the piece. It's easier for me to do it flat on the table than trying to hold it up and do it. So I just kind of clip it right there, and I'll do the same on the other side. Usually it takes, 2 clips for each piece of material. If you feel like you need more attached, to hold it, for some reason it's not holding, you can always do that. Like I said, I have 500 of these, so I got plenty. And now my piece is clipped on there with just these plastic clips, so I don't have to worry about rusting my fabric. And it'll go in the box like this so that I can see my writing. So I will just put it, this is my neutrals, most of my neutrals and some grays. I will just find a place in here, like set it, let's say right here. So now I stuck it down in here, and it's in here in the box. So if I want to find my gingerbread, it's right here. So like I said, it makes it so much easier, and I still have space in this box, you can see. So it makes it like, this is murky. This is 16 count murky, Ada murky, a nice big piece. So I can even get larger pieces on here. This piece measures 26 by 37, and it fits. It's just wrapped around a little bit more. I think I folded this in 4ths. And stick it down in here. So all of my fabric now is in this box, and I can see exactly what's in here, and I don't have to unroll them off of the comic book boards unless I need to for some reason when I'm selecting. But most of the time I can look and I can see and I can go, ooh, that's a nice brown. That's exactly what I want. Or no, maybe I want more of a gray. And let's see, how big is it? Is it big enough? What count is it? Mostly I select by color because I like any, as long as the size of fabric works. If, you know, like the piece here for Plum Street, this is a 16 count Aida, and this piece of fabric is going to be big enough as a 16 count Aida to do my piece on. So as long as it fits on it, I don't care if it's a 16 count or a 32 count or a 28 count normally, because all of those counts I love. I have a couple of 18 count Aidas, but mostly I stitch on 16 count or 28 count and 32 count. And then I have them stacked up next to my dresser. So I can grab these, I can take the lids off, lay the boxes all out, take the lids off. I can see every piece of fabric that I own, except for the small pieces. Those are anything that's like around a quarter yard or bigger. And then my little pieces, right now I have them in my fancy dancy shoebox. This is a Skechers shoebox that I had. So what I did was I took all of my small pieces of fabric and just threw them in here. So that if I know, if I'm looking for, I'm just going to do a small little ornament or a small little pillow or something like that, I can come into this, and these are remnants and things of pieces of fabric. So these are all my small pieces of fabric. So if I know I'm going to stitch on something that's really little, like it's a 5x5 piece or something, I will come and look in this box first to see if I have a small piece that will work. If I don't have a small piece in the color that will work for that piece, you know, that design, then I might look over here, because then I would have to cut a piece off of one of my bigger pieces. But if I can find a scrap piece, a small piece that will work, I'd rather do that. So I just kind of put all the small pieces in there instead of wrapping them around a board because they're little. So I have one more piece, a piece of, what is this, a 32 count Lagana in the color Limestone, a 27 by 36 inch piece. So I already wrote down what this is, and I just need to wrap it and clip it onto here and throw it in the box. And that one's organized and put away for me so that I can find it in the future. So I figure the boxes are, the poster board is acid free, and the clips are plastic, and those little storage boxes, they're just made out of material. So my fabrics should be safe for long term in these, let's see, it says certified acid free. So they should be safe long term stored in these boxes. Unless, you know, my basement floods, they're not waterproof boxes. If you have a problem with flooding or in an area that you're gonna store your fabrics, you might want to put them in Rubbermaid totes, but have them on the comic book boards with the plastic clips, and they'll be good and safe. So that is the other thing I wanted to show you guys, because I had posted on my Instagram that I had gone last week and organized all of my fabric, and some people were asking me questions on Instagram about it. So I thought, let me share that with you guys also. I think that is it. I think I have said everything that I wanted to say today. Let me double check my notes. I did have a commenter ask, I've had a couple of people ask me, can I show how I use my floor stand? And I might do that in the future. I might, now that I have this tripod that holds my phone, I might see about trying to do kind of a stitch with me kind of video. We'll see if I can figure out, you know, if I can get a good angle and get that set up to do that. I might do that sometime in the near future. Not promising that it would definitely get done, but I'm going to try. I'm going to see if I can figure out how to do that, because I have had people ask me if I could do a stitch with me video, and I'm kind of like, I guess I can. If you guys just want to hear somebody talk and stitch, I can do that, I guess. So I think that is it. I've gone over everything that I had laid out here. Now I've got a mess to pick up. So I hope you guys have a wonderful, wonderful rest of your summer. and get lots of good stitching time in, and I will be back in hopefully the next few weeks to because my September is a little bit busy, but I don't know, I might be able to, if not in September, maybe in October I can get back to every other week. We'll see. Or maybe I'll do a Stitch With Me video. Who knows? Who knows? You just thank you for being patient with me and my loosey-goosey way that I do things. I can't seem to fall into a pattern, like I do a video every single Wednesday or Thursday or whatever. And my stitching, sometimes I'll say I'm going to stitch on something and I end up stitching on something else. So thank you for hanging in there. Thank you for sharing my stitching journey. Thank you for sharing your stitching journey with me. I love to hear and see what you guys are working on. In fact, one way you can show me what you're working on is you can join my Facebook group. I need to get better at being better at posting on my Facebook group, but I do have a Facebook group called the Virginia Stitcher. You do have to answer, I think it's like 3 questions. They're simple questions, who's your favorite designer? When did you start cross stitching? Blah, blah, blah. Just to rule out robots, spammers, things like that, because it is a closed group. And then you could share, you could post your, what you're stitching on my Facebook group. That way I can see what you guys are doing, because I do have close to 1,000 members on that Facebook group, and I love seeing what people are working on, what they've got finished, how they finished their piece. There are some talented people out there. You guys are talented. I'm telling you. I'm just one lady sitting in my basement stitching, but you guys are awesome. I do love the interaction that I get with you guys. And I wish you guys a happy rest of your summer. And until the next time, be well and be happy. Ciao.